Imagine waking up and realizing the breakfast on your plate was harvested with, well, near zero human error. Now, picture something maybe even more mind-bending. A drone, right? Not just observing a massive field, but acting as a dedicated, plant-specific doctor for every single piece of produce across hundreds of acres. That feels like maybe science fiction. But our sources confirm this is the current, maybe even shocking, reality. Forget old school agriculture. Farming today is really built on computer vision, predictive algorithms, and machine learning. So here's the hook. What if I told you AI can analyze the health of a single plant by reading light wavelengths totally invisible to the human eye, spotting disease weeks before even the most experienced farmer might squint at the leaf?
It's true, yeah. And that early warning system is kind of what this deep dive is all about. Our mission today is really to give you clarity on the future of food.
Mhm.
We basically distilled our source material down into the 4 core technological pillars that are fundamentally changing farming, globally. So if you're concerned about things like food waste or stabilizing the supply chain, or even just the sheer cost of your groceries,
Ooh.
well, this deep dive is pretty essential. We're unpacking the blueprint of the modern AI farm, covering precision agriculture, robotics, disease detection, and also, crucially, sophisticated livestock monitoring.
We absolutely need this level of detail because, let's be honest, farming is a logistical nightmare. The risk is just astronomical. Unpredictable weather, really thin margins, and a chronic, worsening global labor shortage. I mean, trying to manage a farm is like trying to monitor a million tiny individual chemical reactions happening all at once under extreme pressure. It's basically impossible for human observation alone.
Right.
That's why AI isn't just some fancy upgrade. It's becoming an essential replacement for guesswork. It's the ultimate tireless manager that never misses a detail.
So let's jump right into the blueprint then. Insight number 1, the precision revolution, or maybe how AI gives us the sky view.
Right. Traditionally, a 100-acre field was just treated uniformly, wasn't it? If the front corner looked dry, the whole field got watered. If one patch looked pale, maybe the whole area got blanketed with fertilizer. AI kind of ends that inefficient generalization. It demands that the field be treated as, I don't know, thousands of unique individual data points.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is the data loop that actually enables this. It starts with AI-powered drones and fixed ground sensors. And they aren't just taking regular photographs, they use multispectral imaging, which means they capture light outside the visible range.
Okay, multispectral imaging. That sounds a bit technical. Can you maybe break down why that invisible light is so important?
Absolutely. Think of it like this. A plant under stress, whether that's from lack of water or maybe a fungal infection, it changes its chemical composition long before it changes color visibly. So multispectral imaging detects these really early changes in the way the plant reflects light, specifically tracking things like chlorophyll levels. That data, which indicates subtle stress, is fed instantly into a machine learning model.
Right.
And that model then creates an actionable map telling the farmer exactly which, say, 2 meters square needs an extra shot of nitrogen or maybe a 10% increase in irrigation, like right now. The outcome is measurable resource optimization. Our sources indicate AI-driven precision irrigation can reduce water usage by up to 30%.
30%.
Wow. And in some trials, it's increasing overall yield certainty by maybe 5 to 8%.
That's a huge economic and, well, environmental win. But if AI is the brain in the sky creating these super high-resolution maps, there must be a huge barrier to entry for the average farmer, right? This sounds incredibly expensive and complex.
That's an excellent critical question. The initial investment in drones and sensors is significant, definitely. But the sources show the payback period is shrinking pretty fast because the savings on inputs, water, fertilizer, pesticides, they're immediate and often massive. So think of it less like buying a fancy tool and maybe more like eliminating, 20 years of recurring supply costs.
Okay, that framing helps. So the AI has flown high, analyzed the data, issued its ultra-specific marching orders, but eventually the physical work has to happen on the ground. And that brings us neatly to insight number 2, the automated ground crew.
Yeah, and this section directly addresses that immediate crisis of the global labor shortage we mentioned. Frankly, seasonal, often really difficult farm work is becoming nearly impossible to staff in many places. And that leads to crops literally rotting in the field.
A huge waste.
Exactly. This is where robotics step directly into that operational void.
When we talk about farm robots, though, we aren't talking about something out of a futuristic movie,
Yeah.
are we? What exactly are these automated systems doing?
Well, they're highly specialized. We're discussing sophisticated robotic systems handling things like planting, tedious micro-weeding, and extremely delicate harvesting. Take soft fruit harvesting, for instance, like strawberries or raspberries. That's a task traditionally requiring highly skilled human hands to judge ripeness and, crucially, avoid crushing the fruit.
Right, you need that delicate touch.
Precisely. Modern harvesting robots use advanced actuators, those are the physical moving parts, combined with high-definition computer vision. They can precisely locate and identify the ripeness of each berry. The robot can then apply the exact minimal amount of pressure needed to pick the fruit without bruising it.
Uh-huh.
This minimizes waste and maximizes product quality.
So we've shifted the work from human hands to specialized machine hands. It solves the labor issue while increasing efficiency. But I have to bring up a potential friction point here, something often mentioned in our sources. If a farmer relies entirely on a robotic fleet and maybe proprietary AI software to run their farm, aren't they just swapping the cost of human labor for the steep, ongoing cost of specialized, perhaps non-repairable, high-tech machinery? Is it just trading one dependency for another?
That's a crucial industry debate right now, things like data ownership and proprietary lock-in. You're right, the sources definitely highlight that many large technology providers are offering their services on a subscription model, which means the farmer never truly owns the diagnostic AI model, for example.
Okay.
If they stop paying, they lose the precise planting maps, the historical data, everything.
So it's a bit of a catch-22.
It can be. However, the immediate efficiency gains are still driving adoption pretty strongly. I mean, the robots don't get tired, they can work 247, their movements are standardized for optimal speed and minimal damage. They're stabilizing production where human labor simply cannot keep up anymore.
Okay. So if efficiency is the goal of the ground crew, then the next pillar, detection, is where AI really protects that efficiency. It transforms from worker to like a high-speed doctor and detective. That leads us to insight number 3, the farm doctor and detective. And here is where we really utilize the power of computer vision AI's ability to see and interpret images and patterns better, and certainly faster than any human.
Right. Let's start with crop disease detection, because the speed of a potential farm disaster is, well, it's terrifying. We read one source describing a virulent corn blight that spread across 40 acres in just 3 days. A human missed the initial quarter-acre spot, but AI caught it instantly.
Wow. That's the difference between saving, 99% of the crop and potentially losing everything?
Exactly that difference. These computer vision systems are trained on massive data sets, literally millions of images comparing healthy leaves against diseased ones. They analyze every tiny shift in color, texture, even structural changes. The system identifies those telltale signs of specific diseases or pests long before they reach the threshold of human visibility.
And the true revolution here, as we kind of touched on earlier, is the targeted treatment this enables. The AI doesn't just, yell disease. It says disease detected at coordinate XY, spread radius 2.1 meters, fungus type Z.
That's specific.
Precisely. That granular identification allows for ultra-targeted treatment. So instead of maybe blanket spraying the entire 40 acres with fungicides just as a precaution.
Which is expensive and not great for the environment.
Exactly. The sprayer is instructed to treat only those precise 2-meter zones. This drastically reduces the use of expensive chemicals, it protects beneficial insects, and it significantly minimizes environmental impact. It's basically precision medicine, but for plants. That is amazing for plants. But let's talk about the hidden bonus you mentioned, which is where AI starts managing the entire biological environment. The livestock. This often gets overshadowed by the sexy drone footage.
Yeah, and this is a major area of growth-predictive animal health. AI systems are being deployed in barns and pastures to monitor animals 24/7. And they're focusing not just on the overall herd, but really on the individual animal.
How does that work? Cameras everywhere.
Cameras, yes, but also sensors, sometimes ear tags or collars. What's fascinating is the metrics they track. They analyze changes in gait, movement patterns, frequency of visits to the feeding trough, even subtle shifts in herd social interaction. For instance, AI can analyze the walking pattern of a single dairy cow. A slight change in its gait, really subtle, can be flagged as a potential predictor of lameness days, maybe even a week, before a human vet would notice that subtle shift.
So the AI isn't waiting for the cow to start visibly limping. It notices the micro change in movement much earlier. That sounds like massive preventative potential.
It really is.
Yeah.
By tracking these subtle behavioral changes or maybe decreased activity, the system can instantly flag an anomaly that suggests the onset of illness or fever. This allows farmers to isolate the animal and intervene immediately, maybe just with some supportive care, before it gets serious.
That must be hugely significant.
Oh, it is, not only for animal welfare, which is critical, but for preventing costly, devastating outbreaks across the entire herd. It really helps stabilize the supply of meat and dairy by making the farm environment more predictable, less prone to sudden shocks.
Okay, so if we synthesize all four of these technological pillars, the precision from the sky, the robotics on the ground, the early detection of disease, and this proactive health monitoring of livestock, what does this collective digital transformation mean for, you, the person buying groceries?
Well, it connects directly to the bigger picture of global food security and supply chain stability. By removing or at least mitigating massive variables like
Right.
weather unpredictability, labor supply volatility, and the speed of disease spread, AI makes farming far more predictable.
Less guesswork, more certainty.
Exactly. And when a farmer can save, say, 20% on fertilizer and irrigation while drastically minimizing the risk of crop failure or herd loss, those savings and that increased certainty eventually translate, hopefully, into a more stable price point for consumers down the line. The future cost of groceries is, I think, directly linked to how quickly and effectively we adopt these intelligent waste-reducing technologies.
That puts the conversation right back into the home kitchen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's quickly recap the four pillars of the AI farm we just unpacked. First, drones and sensors for precision agriculture, optimizing irrigation and fertilization using invisible light.
Right.
Second, robotic systems for planting and harvesting, solving chronic labor shortages with those specialized machine hands.
Mm,
Third, computer vision for disease detection, enabling instant identification and that ultra-targeted chemical treatment.
spot on.
And fourth, AI for livestock, tracking individual animal health and behavior for powerful predictive health management.
Exactly. And that level of predictive, data-driven management, it raises an important, maybe provocative question for you to consider. If AI can perfectly manage a farm, optimizing every input and output down to the square centimeter, how long before we realize we can apply that exact same level of analytical precision to managing entire complex ecosystems, or even massive, volatile global supply chains?
That's something to definitely mull over the next time you hear a weather report or look at food prices. If you know someone who worries about climate change, food waste, or the rising cost of dinner, maybe share this deep dive with them.
Definitely. And next time we're digging into something probably sitting in most of your homes right now, the smart speaker. You think you know how to listen to them. But we found sources that reveal the shocking, unspoken agreements you likely made and the kind of hidden business models that operate every single time you say that wake word.
Oh, okay. That sounds important.
Yeah. If you value your privacy, or if you simply want to understand the true cost of that convenience, you absolutely cannot miss this next deep dive. We promise you'll probably be talking about this one for weeks.